Okay, hi everybody, and welcome back to What's the Tea. If this is your first time tuning in, my name is Angela Davis. I am a community educator at South Suburban Family Shelter. So essentially, What's the Tea is geared to our agency, our staff. We felt that during this time of going through this pandemic, we were really thinking of how to kind of formulate and bridge that gap with our audience, with our supporters, our donors, and things like that. So each week, Tuesday at 2 o'clock p.m., we basically cover different topics, different departments, and basically keep you in the loop of what's going on at South Suburban Family Shelter. So today we have Jodine. Jodine is our program assistant, and she's also our facilitator for our partner abuse intervention program. Okay, so she has some dual roles, which lets you know right there that she is busy. Okay, so I want to thank you so much. Hi, Jodine. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing good. So we get some sun today, so that's good. We got some sun.
Yes, no sun yet.
Right, right. So for those that are tuning in, make sure you grab your tea, your orange juice, whatever you want to drink today. I have water, okay, so I don't have tea today. So just grab whatever you're drinking today and make sure you share and like our video on your Facebook page so your friends can be our friends and we can all be friends, okay? So just to start off, so Jodine, I feel that you try to stay out the spotlight at South Suburban Family Shelter. But the truth of the matter is that you do a lot for the domestic violence field. You are very educated and very in tune with the service that you give to others. So can you just start by just telling us how long have you been at South Suburban Family Shelter and what exactly brought you to the agency?
Okay. So I'm originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Me too.
Really?
I was
Oh,
born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
me too. Oh my God. Oh,
Okay, so
I know,
y'all,
right?
this is not playing that. That is, oh my God, I never met someone that was like me too. Yes, I was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Yes. How long have you been here?
I was about 5 years old.
Okay. Do you go
What?
back a lot?
Yes, I do. I do. I like to go back and visit. I will say that the neighborhoods have definitely changed. The community has definitely changed, but I like going back because it gives me that sense of that childhood that I don't remember, but I know that this is home. So
Yes.
yeah. Wow.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I keep going.
See what we learn from doing these things about each other. So
Oh,
I actually transitioned here in 2013.
okay.
And so I originally was actually supposed to be headed to Atlanta, Georgia.
Well, that's two
Yeah,
different places.
very much. So my children, they were young adults. The whole plan was, as they became young adults, I wanted them to go to the Black colleges. I really, like Georgia, so I just felt when they started getting to that age, we would make the transition. But of course, our plans aren't always our children's plans.
Right.
So because they were still young adults, I knew it was time for me to leave Milwaukee just from a lot of my own personal experience with things. I needed a fresh start. I needed to get away. So I was already coming up here quite frequently to Chicago. And I just said, you know what? It's only 2 hours away from home. So this way I'm not too far from my children and grandchildren. So for about a year, I commuted back and forth 2 times a week. And I actually started out as a volunteer with South Suburban. In fact, when I made my official move here, we still had the resale shop open. And my children took what they wanted out of the household for their houses, and whatever was left over, I brought here and I actually donated to our resale shop. Yep, I said
Wow.
because I needed a fresh start with everything.
Right, right.
And so, yeah, girl, I got that U-Haul and I drove everything right up here and donated. So, yeah, I started out as a volunteer. Like I said, I was back in 2013 because even while I was commuting for the first year, I still was like, okay, because I'm such I love the field, and I'm such like I guess you could say a go-getter, like, okay, what can I do? What can I get involved with? And because I made the transition out here to the South suburbs, of course, South Suburban is only 5 minutes away from me. So it worked out
Right.
really good.
Exactly. And you do take me as that go-getter. Even when working at the agency, it's like, okay, I got this to do, I got this to do. I'm coming here to get this, and I'm going on to the next thing. It was just always, and then outside of it, I pay attention to you and what you do individually with your service to domestic violence. So you have a lot, that you got going on. But thank you for sharing that too. Wow, that is amazing. It's like, well, I actually left my roots kind of in the agency with my own personal experience, That is
Yeah.
awesome. So when I first started working at South Suburban Family Shelter in 2017, you were in the sanctuary department, right? And
Yes.
so now you're transitioning to another department. So, okay, before we get to the PAIP, which is like our Partner Abuser Intervention Program, what were your tasks? What did your job look like in the sanctuary department?
Okay. So in the sanctuary, I was a lot like a floater. I worked a lot with the donations, with the child care, prepping the apartments as new transitions were coming in from the emergency shelters. I did follow-up calls with the participants when they left the housing program. Um, and just, that just whoever needed help, whatever they needed, it was just, okay, what do you need me to do today type deal.
Right, right. And I remember that because you were always the one coming over helping with the donations, getting the donations and things.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty interesting. So I know that when I was in college, I worked in we called it shelter, but it was basically sanctuary. And I know that has a very long lasting relationship, especially with the clients. So were you able to build like the foundations and a relationship with the clients as well?
Um, Not really, because I didn't do any of the case management work.
Got it.
Right.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. But that tell you right there is different departments within the sanctuary itself.
Exactly. Yes.
So
I
and
developed a rapport with them just from our crossing paths,
yeah.
throughout there. And then also, in doing the childcare. So then when they would attend the support groups or, their own individual counseling, I would help out with for the little ones, if they weren't in school, I would help out. So I did definitely develop a rapport with them and have conversation and so forth. But I didn't, establish, a good or tight relationship.
Right. But even then, like you said, you were still that friendly face. We still know that's Miss Jodine who be
Yeah.
watching our kids, so you still gave that friendly face that they know.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So now as I was saying in the beginning, now you have a dual role, right? So in our partner abuser intervention program, you're not only the program assistant, but you're also a facilitator in groups. Okay, so what is that like now? What are your tasks like now? Is it more paperwork? Is it more hands-on? How exactly does that look for you?
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit of both. Um, a lot of paperwork, basically helping, the program as the program assistant side, helping the program to continue to move forward. So, whether it's documenting and tracking their payments, the billing, the county billing, reports, scheduling their intake assessments. So basically, I guess you could look at it as anything administratively. I handle a lot of those tasks. And then flipping over to the other side, where I'm actually the co-facilitator
Yes.
for the program. So
And how is that? How is that new for you? Is facilitating new for you in it? Or it's like, nah, girl, I had that in my back pocket too.
so yes and no, because this is a different type of facilitation. So I facilitated a lot of workshops on like the Allstate Foundation for the Economic Abuse Program. I did a lot of that back home. I facilitate even currently a lot of workshops or seminars or now Zoom as it pertains to,
Right.
women empowerment, working with survivors, things of that nature. So it's more, or TV awareness. So it's more on the educational side. This is different because this is more on the psychological side, counseling
Yeah,
side. So
yeah.
this is new. Yeah. So this side of facilitating is new for me.
Wow, and I know that can have its own challenges within itself too, just by just being something new. And it's like, okay, like the new challenge for me, you know? Okay,
Very much.
so you're definitely considered to be very knowledgeable. You're definitely considered to be very experienced in the domestic violence field.
Mhm.
So how has this transition been for you, right? Because sanctuary and our abuser intervention program is two different programs serving two different needs. So how has that transition been for you?
It's been pretty good. It has definitely been pretty good. I do enjoy working with the participants in this program as well. I know there was concern initially because I am a survivor myself.
Okay.
So, because
Okay.
I endured domestic violence myself for 14 years, now crossing over and working with the abusers
Yeah.
or perpetrators as well, or batterers, some may have the concern of, okay, can she handle it? Are there going to be any triggers that may, um, but I knew, you know where you're at in your healing. And I knew I was ready. And for me, I wanted to be able to help full circle. And that's actually what helped me in my healing process. When I first went through the 20-hour abuser intervention training back in like 2013, 14, it helped me to understand, um, a lot of the whys and just things, along that nature. And it brought closure for me. So then when I would work with survivors, I was able to share some of that knowledge with them to help bring closure to them. Because when you're not working in the field and when you're on the outside looking in, or if you haven't experienced it, a lot of people have a lot of whys. They have a lot of questions. They don't understand. They tend to be judgmental and things of that nature. For me, it was like, okay, I need to know. I want to know, and I just felt like that would really complete my healing circle. And it actually did. So the transition has been great. I feel as if um, I want to be able to be a part of that impact in helping the participants in the PAIP program in changing their belief system, and helping them to understand the impact that it has on the survivors, and even if children are involved, long term. And let
Well,
me stop there because I can keep going on and
yeah,
on.
but no, I really want to say first just thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. I know that you state that you are at a okay spot in your healing, in your healing space. You're going through your own journey, but I do still thank you. And you really stated something very important, how you want to be able to help full circle. And I know that could be hard for a lot of survivors to even want to work in that, in that department. Some people may not even be in their healing stage to even want to understand,
Yes, yes.
because it's like there's nothing that you can say for me to understand.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
for you to give that perspective, that is very interesting. I know that individuals who may watch this, you really help, make it make sense, in a way.
Yes.
Um, so that's really interesting. And this also why it just I wanted to interview so much, because you are to me. I know we don't like to say we don't like know everything, but you are an expert in the DV field, in my opinion. So to really hear your personal journey and how it correlates to your passion for domestic violence is just very interesting. I just really thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that. And now our stories is you coming to Chicago and everything is kind of for putting itself together without having to put you in that time space. So
Yes.
I just thank you. I
Yes.
thank you so much for speaking to us about it. So with you being in the department, starting a whole new, a whole new journey in your professional field, how has the pandemic made this challenging? Like, when you were hired, were we already in the pandemic? So has there been a difference, or is this all you know? Like, how is that? How is that working?
Yeah. So yeah, we were already in the pandemic because when I made the transition over here in September, everything was still, even though, we were starting to come back to the office, practicing the social distancing and so forth. So um, it's been cool. I do look forward to when we do meet in person, to be honest,
So, all
because
right. So things are virtual.
things are virtual. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. All of their groups are done via Zoom.
You know, this was the tea. So I just have to ask, do they fight you like, no, I don't want to be on here, got to log into this computer? Like, do that? I would just find it because it's so interesting, because I know from working with Bro, what we hear every week, and I'm sorry that you're here again, but you got to be here. So now with it being virtual, I found that very interesting, because I could just see them like, man, I got to be on here again. Or it could be like, okay, that's fine. At least I'm at home being able to do this right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So wow.
Yeah.
So do you get kind of like, again, Ms.
Right. Not really. Actually, no. You know, they log on and, in the beginning when we have to do the check-in, they're I'm tired, or I'm feeling good today. I've never heard anyone say, oh, I really didn't want to come, or, have that type of,
Well, that's
demeanor.
good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Despite, one of the things that I would like to say is oftentimes people can be judgmental or kind of have their own what's the word I'm looking for? Like when they think of the participants, they have a negative
Yeah, already
outlook.
stereo. Yeah.
Yeah. So they look at them as being bad people and, oh, they don't want to see them, or, oh, are they mean? Are we going to be safe around them? Even, like when we do go in person, like, is it okay to be in the same building with them? I mean, they may have different outlooks or different ideas on them. And they're not mean, they're not bad, they're not, they're very pleasant. When I interact with them, even when they call me on the phone, asking different things about, their file or payments or whatever, we have a good conversation. It's like, hey, how you doing, Miss Jodine? I'm doing great. How are you doing? They're just regular people, so there's no type of, concerns or fears there. They never come, with an attitude. If they do come with an attitude to the Zoom, it's more so a frustration because of something that they experienced that day, something that's going on in their case or the relationship, but it's never, disrespectful or anything like that. As odd as it may sound maybe to some, but I enjoy it.
But hey, look, this is still your passion. So it's okay to say that you enjoy it, because at the end of the day, your experience is not what you asked for, but it's a reason why you are being able to serve the way you do, so it's always a reason. I try to look at that with my own personal experiences, and what you said right there. A lot of people may have their own stereotypes or generalizations about these individuals who are in our groups. But I think also working in the community education department and speaking to junior high school, and even adults, I've really had to come to terms that some people just don't know any better. They legit don't know. And you have to also look at your experience. And yes, I had, this 2-parent or 1-parent household when I was able to learn X, Y, and Z, but maybe somebody else didn't have those protective factors to be able to do so, which is what our agency really talk about, is those protective and those risk factors, because people aren't bad people. We may make bad choices, but that doesn't make us bad people, and it's interesting because we always want others to feel that we can change, but now we look at them, it's like, can you change? And it's like, no, they can change. It's work, but it's work with anything. Even good people go to therapy, and it's still going to have to be work to be done to even change something about yourself.
Yes, you have to be
Yes,
willing to want to change.
exactly,
Because
exactly.
I mean, let's face it, there are some participants who go through the whole 30-week program and don't get anything out of it because, they weren't trying to, they weren't willing, they didn't want to, they wasn't, it was basically a waste of time for them because they weren't utilizing any of the skills and tactics that we were trying to teach them. Um,
As
so
advocates, we can't have that attitude like, oh, okay, new group, you are going to be the same way, right? Because it could be out of 10 people, those two people who are really noticing that, okay, I have to make a change about myself, you know?
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, so what lessons and strengths from you working with survivors would you be able to bring to your work in working with individuals who chooses violence?
Yeah. I think a lot from my background. Yeah, I really believe my background because it's not just the training that I went through for the program, but also my personal life experience, and what better training can you have than that? So because I understand and I know full circle, um, it helps me to be able to help them.
Really
I'm
be able to empathize with them because you truly understand both sectors of that situation.
exactly, yes. So I can go, yes, we have the training side of things and the curriculum that we use, but then if any particular conversations or scenarios, come up based on my life experience and even other experiences of survivors that I've worked with and other individuals, we're able to incorporate that. Of course, the whole confidentiality side of things, even with myself, I don't share um, any of myself because they may not be willing or open or may see or maybe or put me into that category of, oh, well, you're just like them.
And I'm glad you said that because that was on my mind too. I just kind of was assuming myself that they may or may not know that you were, but I can see that happening because sometimes it's like, see, they try to use it like, Miss Jodine, you don't understand what I'm saying to you right now, because they're trying to use that personal experience, and it's like, nope, we still got to separate the two.
That's right.
We gotta separate the two. So that gave me some clarity too, and I should have known that myself. But that does make sense with having that confidentiality, even about your own experiences. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But it helps me to when certain things are said, it's like, okay, from my background and from what I know, it's like, okay, what's a question I can ask them? Or what can I say, you know, to help them to understand or to put one and one together, just it just helps in a variety of ways. So I really feel that, that is the strength that I bring to this program. Yeah, being able to have a wider.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you have a side of things that can't be taught, like you said. You have a side of experiences that you can't learn in a classroom. Our
Mm,
trainers can only cover so much, but then when those real conversations come up, that's you.
yes.
That's you.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so due to you having experience in both of the sectors, okay, is there anything, any advice, any wisdom, any last words that you would like to give to our audience, whether they could be a survivor, a person who chooses violence, or maybe just someone watching and wanting to know more information? Is there anything that you feel that you want to give to our audience today?
Yeah. So gosh, my mind is racing. Okay. It's it's so important for family and friends. I get because I share a lot on social media and with my own initiatives on just on awareness and education. It's so important that if you have a family member or a friend that's going through it, or maybe even a coworker, whatever the case may be, it's important to listen. It's important to believe, it's important to support them and encourage them because we a lot domestic violence is not prejudice. It doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care about your socioeconomic background. It doesn't care about your race, your age, your profession, none of that. So because domestic violence is not prejudice, you have to be careful in never making that statement, I will never let that happen to me, because you don't know what you will allow to happen until you go through it or until it comes your way. So you have to be very supportive and encouraging to someone that you may know that is going through it, because they may not leave yet. Statistics say that it takes a victim 7 times to leave for good. And and that's just what statistics say.
Right.
What about the people who aren't reporting it? And it's even more than that, because you have to remember, it's not that they want the abuse, they want the relationship to end, they want the abuse to end. So they tend to stay in that situation, hoping and waiting and praying and trying to help the individual, trying to work through it. Now, a person on the outside looking in can see this and don't understand, because they're like, oh, I would just leave. I would do this, I would do that. It's not that easy. And so it's important that if a victim does come to you and share, or if you see and they don't share, that you are that listening ear for them. And if you don't know anything about domestic violence or how to help them, how to create a safety plan, help them. Let them know, I will walk this journey with you. You don't have to do it alone. Get on Google and research, call some local agencies in your area. Of course, call South Suburban.
Right, call us. But if you're not in the state, then okay.
So it's just really important from that end, to just be supportive, and have patience. People tend to get frustrated because, the victim will go back, leave, go back, go back, go back. You got to have a lot of patience, but the victim really needs for you to believe them, to encourage them, and to be there on that journey with them. And as we stated earlier, as far as the other side, with the abusers or the perpetrators, um, you know, try to loosen up that stereotype. That was the word I was looking for before. Thank you. Because at the end of the day, this person is somebody's son, brother, uncle, grandchild, father. They're still an individual just like we are, and nobody is perfect. Everybody makes mistakes, and oftentimes we tend to be products of our environment. Growing up, what was our background? That was one of the things that we dig deep in with the program, is challenging their belief system. Why or how did they feel it was okay to do A, B, C, and D? When you can get to the core, just like with survivors, when you can get to the core of, okay, why do they keep going back? Why is this happening? At the end of the day, they're still humans. They're still trying. I say often, you just pray for them. I'm a very spiritual person. Pray for them, because I'm a firm believer, when you know better, you do better. And even though they're being forced to come to the program, and there are some, forced via being court mandated.
Right. Right.
And there's even some who come voluntarily. It may take a while. It takes a while to, change bad habits. It takes a while to change that belief system. So you got to have patience with them. You have to also forgive. Forgiveness is so powerful, and forgiveness is about healing. You may not ever get the answer that you're looking for. You may not ever get that answer. I can't stress that enough. And you can't look for it either. But you just have to learn to forgive them, just like you want to be forgiven for things that you do. So yeah, just dropping the stereotype, not being so judgmental with the abusers, because there's still, and there's some out there that are, very cruel, very mean, and it can make it hard. Somebody watching this may know someone and say, well, Jodine, you just don't know what I'm dealing with, or you just don't know how he is. I can just about imagine, just from my own experience and how mine was, and how, others that I've heard was. But still, at the end of the day, they're still, again, the spiritual side, I'm sorry, they're still fighting demons and spirits and principalities that are not in this realm that, they're dealing with. So, you just have to kind of look at, okay, they're like this for a reason. This is happening for a reason, and be thankful for the programs like ours that are out here to try to help. It makes it challenging because for now here's something, Angie, because I'm so used to being that encourager from the other side.
Yeah.
And I found this thin line where I teeter on where it's like, okay, they need encouragement too, because you see them trying, you know, but then it's like you have to also be careful that you're not, so it doesn't appear as if you're applauding bad behavior.
Right. Right.
So, that's the challenge, and that's where I'm learning that thin line at. But, they need support and encouragement just like anybody else because they're trying. One participant has said, he's a volunteer, and he said he feels like he's trying for nothing, like it's a dead end because his partner, is not really, I won't say not seeing the changes, but it's just skeptical. Like, okay, have you really changed, or are you just giving
Right.
me a
Right.
facade,
And that could
making me
be
look?
hard for anyone who's trying to change and everybody's looking like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've often had people ask, do you believe they can change? Or people will say, oh, he'll never change, or she'll never change. Yeah, I believe they can change, but they have to want to change. You know.
And you gave really some great perspectives on because of your position, of your experiences, and it just shows your resilience to even be able to come forth and just be speaking in such a strong manner because I know that probably took time. And I know your journey and your healing is still taking time, and that's with any journey of healing and trauma. You could be okay one day, and then the next day it's like, oh dang, that just kind of bothered me a little bit, so it just really shows your resilience. And I just thank you so much because even speaking with you, believe it or not, you gave me a different perspective, even though I know, like, yeah, you have to forgive and they change too, but no, you really put in perspective, like, okay, no, they really need that encouragement, they need that push, they need that as well, because that plays a role in, there's a lot of individuals, man or woman, that have tried to change and nobody believed them. They're like, okay, well, if y'all gonna keep calling me this, then this is just what I'm gonna be.
Yes, yes. They feel what? What's the use?
What's the point? What's the
Yep.
point? I'm over here, I'm telling the truth, and you still think I'm lying, so I might as well just lie all the time.
Yeah.
you know so yeah,
Yeah.
that definitely gave me a different perspective, and I just want to thank you all so much. And if you all have any questions, any concerns, any comments, please comment it in the chat below and we will make sure that we get back to you. Also, this is the season of giving, so please just consider giving to your favorite domestic violence agency during this time. And again, Jodine, we want to thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you for giving me a different perspective on things. And I hope that can allow others to have a different perspective as well.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank
well,
you for
thank
the
you all so
opportunity.
much. Yeah, thank you so much. And I hope everyone have a great day. Thank you.